Hi everybody. So I didn't introduce myself in my last video. It was about intersectional bias. So I'd recommend taking a look at that if you have any trouble with the concept here that I'm trying to communicate. But my name's Chad Nick DeSisto. I go to Mass Art, and I'm trying to design an experiment with a feedback mechanism that exposes the intersection of different types of biases and how they sort of become triple threats or like double biases. And this is all related to the concept of intersectionality, which is very briefly overviewed in my last video. So I did run an experiment using characteristics and qualities from the identity wheel. These things are things like gender, marital status, ethnicity, physical ability, mental ability, socioeconomic class, job level, physical ability, religious beliefs, age. In any case, all of these things I asked 9 people just to understand what their hang-ups were, to understand the nature of their language around these concepts, and try to figure out what the feedback mechanism is and whether the feedback mechanism differs per segment. So if I'm talking to police groups, or whether I'm talking to gender studies classes, or whether I'm talking to freshmen in college, or small startups trying to understand what their organizational culture is. All of this information is really helpful. So I haven't really dug into the code yet. This project is taking on a life of its own. So I really need to think about how I'm culling down these insights and translating that into exact techniques. In my last video, I did think that I was going to use MQTT, like coding and time tracking, to figure out how much time it's taking people to generate these words, potentially do some sentiment analysis on the words to see if people are generating positive or negative words. The result of the experiment that I had run was really interesting. It confirmed some of my assumptions, and then it revealed some other things that were really important to the technique that I'm going to use, and also the feedback mechanism that I plan on implementing. So one of the insights was really interesting, and it was actually a confirmation of what I had thought. But right here, I'll put this on the screen for you. Someone started to write black as the 8th characteristic of this person when I prompted them with the race card, wherever that is, and then they crossed it out and wrote African American. This is really interesting self-correction, and something like this would be revealed in time tracking. So that's really interesting information, and to have that confirmed with real user information. But anyway, I guess that's sort of where I am now, trying to understand this information and seeing how it's reflected in the techniques that we need to use to pull this all off. Bye for now.